Ito, merong CPR. Kailangan updated yung CPR, hindi siya expired. Okay. CGMP, Current Good Manufacturing Practice. Mechanism of action, nandyan. Approved indications. Pwede rin minsan sinusulat din doon sa CPR yung approved off-label use. So, ito yung mga nakikita natin doon sa Remdesivir, noong COVID, may off-label use siya. Yan. Dosage forms, storage, recommended dose regimens, pharmacokinetic considerations. Okay, so nandun din yan sa mga dossiers. Tinitingnan din natin yan, yung bioavailability, yung bioequivalency. Okay. Use in special populations. Okay, kung meron ba siyang specific population lang, no? Then pregnancy category, efficacy, safety, convenience, and cost. Yan. Clinical trial analysis and critic. Medication safety assessment and recommendation. Minsan kasi may mga drugs na look alike, sound alike siya. So, baka mamaya instead na, di ba kasi one of our objectives pag naglalagay tayong gamot in the formulary is of course the safety, di ba? So, baka mamaya yung nilagay natin safety masyado niyang ka-look alike a certain drug. So, yun, meron din kaming concern sa ganoon. Okay, and then of course the cost para dun sa financial or pharmacoeconomic assessment if available. So again, we use the drug evaluation form. So what's the process? Paano ba ginagawa ito? Okay, so una, sabi natin, the PTC, siya ang mag-evaluate ng application for inclusion, di ba? Sabi natin kanina, dalawang ways, 'di ba, to propose. First, yung mga doktor through their department. Pangalawa, pwedeng si pharmacy. Okay. All drugs being evaluated must be first registered muna sa FDA. Ito yung pinaka-una munang criteria natin. Okay. Meron kaming tinatawag na risk management analyst, should gather the published literature and resources available to aid in the decision making. Okay. Ito yung mga references na kailangan i-present during the deliberation. So, ginagather natin ito using websites, yung pwedeng yung sa atin na FDA, local FDA, pwede rin sa US FDA, or sa European Medicines Agency. The following data also must be gathered. Yun nga, isa nabanggit ko kanina, yung BA data, BA studies, pwede rin yung mga clinical trials and studies. Titingnan kung potential ba siya to cause medication error and sentinel events with special attention kung sound alike ba or look alike yung drug. Potential risk for causing significant patient harm when used inappropriately. So, yung mga high alert medications. Okay, so meron ba siyang mga side effects? Okay. Kasi kung high alert drug siya, medyo narrow na yung kanyang therapeutic index, yung safety naman niya ang pwedeng compromise, di ba? So, yun. Based on clinical trials also and studies, yan. Yung study should contain discussion on ano nangyari sa clinical tests, ano yung results, yan. May mga possibilities ba for potential for overdose, for abuse potential. Kailangan makita na yung benefit ng drug outweighs the risks and how minimal the risks are. Okay. So method used in manufacturing the drug and the controls used to maintain the drug's quality and to preserve the drug's identity, strength, quality, and purity. So bakit ba ito lahat ay tinitingnan? Kasi alam naman natin na napakarami sa market na nagpo-proliferate na mga fake, 'di ba? Yung mga counterfeit drugs. That's why tinitingnan din po natin kung saan manggagaling yung gamot. So yung manufacturer, importante din na nakikita natin kung saan siya minanufacture. Legit ba yung manufacturing company na yun? So we have to get details also of the manufacturing company, lalo na kung ang gamot ay bago or hindi naman siya locally produced, diba? Most of the drugs naman talaga are not locally produced. So nire-repack lang dito sa atin. So we have to look into the source. Tinitingnan natin saan ba source nitong gamot na ito. Okay. So, for example, India, di ba? Maraming drugs na made in India. Tinitingnan, hindi naman lahat na Como India ay low ang quality, di ba? Meron din talagang mga high quality drugs that are made in India. So, tinitingnan natin yung profile ng mga manufacturers nila. So, ano pa? For therapeutic equivalent drugs naman, ito yung mga me-too na tinatawag. So, yung mga may generic equivalent na. So, kumbaga, parang brand na lang. Let's say, a certain brand ng paracetamol. Okay, so, meron ding another drug na paracetamol din. Okay, so, merong mga BE, bioequivalence na, na data na tinitingnan or kapag ka IV. Yan. Kapag ka-therapeutic equivalent lang siya. Okay. So, for example, pharmaceutical equivalence test for oral preparations. Ayan. If a drug product is considered an emergency drug and requires an immediate onset ng action, titingnan natin dyan kung ano yung time it takes for the drug to reach yung MEC or minimum effective concentration. So, i-compare natin siya with the comparator drug, yung innovator. Ang comparator drug natin usually is the innovator drug. So, dapat pareho sila. Yun, yung Tmax, yung time of peak ng concentration, may be used as parameter as it represents the length of time necessary to achieve the Cmax or maximum concentration. If a drug naman requires long duration ng effect or an immediate effect, the length of time naman na tinitingnan natin ito, that the drug was able to maintain serum concentration above the MEC. Kung gaano katagal siya na nandoon, should be used as a parameter also. So, we also look at the safety ng clinical trials and studies as mentioned kanina. And then, yung comparison niya sa mga alternative agents na meron na sa formulary. So, for example, advantage niya sa formulation. Kung minsan, yung sinasabi, di ba, yung sa mga inhalers, yan, merong ibang mist, no? Meron namang regular inhaler, parang ganyan. So, parang sinasabi nila, yung mist, dahil mas maliliit yung kanyang mga molecules pagka in-spray siya, it's better absorbed, parang ganoon. So, tinitingnan natin yung mga advantages na ganyan. Advantage in terms of safety, kung mas lesser toxicity siya, okay? And, but greater safety. And advantage in terms of cost, as compared to the original or to the innovator brand, mas mura siya pero same quality. Okay, pasok yan. Okay. Or if it represents a new group with a different mechanism of action. Yan. So, kung halimbawang may existing drug na same ang indication, pero ito naman, iba naman mechanism of action niya. So, tinitingnan din po natin. So, any questions at this point? Please feel free to raise your hand. I want this to be an interactive session also. Let me know, no, if you have questions, if you have inputs, pwede rin na. Okay, so let's proceed, ha. Okay, ito naman, I'm sorry, we're very busy yung but I just wanted to show you na merong dalawang klase pa ng requirements. Okay, Yung isa ay commercial. Pag we are talking about the vendors, di ba sabi ko sa inyo kanina, we have to make sure na legit yung ating vendor. We have to make sure na hindi tayo mapapasukan ng mga counterfeit drugs. That's why we have to have a checklist of all the commercial documents that are needed, that are being checked. So ito yung mga commercial documents. Pag sa vendors, commercial documents. Yung company profile, yung org chart nila, location, mga BIR nila, kasama yan, yung LTO, SEC, yan, chinecheck yan. Now, if we're going to look naman for the details ng drug product nila, so kapag drug product, meron ding checklist ng technical documents naman. So, ang tawag naman sa mga CPR, CGMP, MSDS, mga clinical study, basta anything na nagpa-pertain about dun sa drug, those are the technical documents. So, ito yan. Yan. So, CPR. Okay. So, dalawang klase po, dalawang, kumbaga, category ng documents. The commercial documents, yung vendor na magkikerry ng drug na yon, and then the technical documents is the actual representation of the drug. Kung ano siya, kung ano yung literature nila. Additional requirements for therapeutic equivalent drug. Ito yung sinasabi natin na hihingi tayo ng BA or BE of the said pharmaceutical equivalent drug. Hindi naman lahat po ay hinihingan. Meron kasing listahan ng mga drugs na may problems on bioequivalence and bioavailability na pwede tayong mag-refer to para mag-trigger sa atin para maghingi tayo ng mga BA or BE. Yan. Okay, so kapag na-review na during the meeting, yan, are there different types of formulary decisions? Yan, meron pa. Aside from, akala natin yes or no lang, di ba? Merong gitna. That's conditional. So tatlo po ang formulary decisions. Okay, so first is the approved. Okay, kapag approved siya, approval letter shall be provided by PTC, ipipirmahan yan. Then, the information regarding the new approved drug shall be disseminated to all, sa nursing, sa pharmacy, and other sa doctors, okay, and upon availability sa pharmacy. Okay. Now, kapag punta muna tayo dun sa disapproved. Pag disapproved, it shall be documented na disapprove siya and shall be sent to the company representatives through email. Yan. So, sila na yung magsasabi rin sa mga doctors na it was disapproved. Conditional approval, ang last natin, SFI, or we call it the special formulary item. Ito, when the reason for the request ay sinasabing may significantly affect our patient's well-being, pero kasi yung document or data to support the recommendation is insufficient. Okay, so sometimes, kumbaga, nilalagay muna natin siya sa SFI when hindi tayo masyado pang convinced that this is a good addition. Pero there is potential. So drugs under conditional approval, they are subject to a 6-month monitoring period. And after a given approval period, doon magdi-decide sa final disposition ng drug kung ito ba ay either approved or disapproved. Okay. So again, there are 3 types of formulary decisions sa Asian Hospital. Approved, conditional approval, and disapproved. Okay. Yan. So, napag-uusapan natin yung di ba? Addition, puro addition, no, ng drug sa formulary. So, ma-imagine niyo baka ang kapal na ng formulary ng Asian Hospital. So, nilagay ko dito, if we add medicines in the formulary, do we also delete? Diba? Dapat, ano yan, parang ano yan, diba? Nagmamarikondo din tayo. Kailangan meron din tayong nilalabas kung meron din tayong pinapasok na gamot. So, deletions from the formulary. Drugs may be deleted from the formulary based on the following. So, kung ang drug ay may significant adverse effects. Okay, so nire-record kasi natin yan, minomonitor natin kung merong mga ADRs, di ba? Kung pag nakikita namin na marami ang nagre-report on ADR of a certain drug, it's subject for re-evaluation. Pwede siya ma-delete. Based from clinical evidences, the drug exhibits therapeutic failure or characteristic siya for a substandard drug. So, hindi siya effective. Yan. May mga reports na halimbawa, yung anesthesia, anesthetic drugs, no? Hindi siya naglalas for hanggang matapos yung procedure. So, or mabilis siya mawala ang effect niya. Yan. So, yung mga ganong evidences, the drugs can be also a candidate for deletion. Kapag nag-announce ang FDA ng mga drug for deletion or recalls or withdrawal, syempre, susunod na tayo doon. Yan. Can be deleted in the formulary. Or kung minsan, di ba, ang manufacturer mismo or distributor ang nag-initiate ng withdrawal from the market. Okay. Also, pwede ring ma-delete kung there's a significant decrease in utilization. Hindi siya masyadong ginagamit. Yan. Mag-expire lang siya sa pharmacy. So, pwede yung ma-delete. Supporting documentations, references, or any evidence justifying deletion of the drug from the formulary. Yan. Kung makakuha tayo ng mga ganoong recommendations. Any active physician or resource person with expertise in the specific therapeutic category shall provide information. Okay, with available yung documentation. And then, products with supply concerns. So, ito yung nagkakaroon ng mga shortages. During the time of COVID pandemic natin, ng kasagsagan ng pandemic natin, there are lots of drugs that were that have supply constraints. Well, up until now naman, nagre-recover pa lang din. Marami pong nagkaroon ng shortages. Na ano nyo dati, di ba? Parang kahit na nung nagkaroon ng surge, nabalitaan nyo yan, kahit paracetamol, wala tayong mabili, di ba? Mga gamot sa sipon, walang mabili, sa mercury drugs. So, talaga nagkaroon ng mga shortages also. But, yung mga gano'n naman, those are temporary shortage. Yung mga matagal talaga na almost 1 year na wala siya, nadi-delete na yun sa formulary. So, ito naman, other responsibilities of the PTC. Okay, so sabi natin kanina, through the pharmacy, obtaining, dispensing, and monitoring non-formulary drugs. Yun. So, minomonitor din ng PTC yung pag-procure namin or pag-dispense namin ng non-formulary drugs. Kasi nire-report din natin yan. Okay? Kasi, bakit? Because it's a basis, again, for possible inclusion, di ba, in the formulary. The use of compassionate drugs or unregistered drugs. Kanina sabi natin, di ba, ang mga drugs kailangan muna primary consideration approved muna ng FDA. Yan. For marketing. Ibig sabihin, pwede siyang i-market, pwede siyang ibenta. Yan. Ngayon, may mga drugs naman po na ginagamit for compassionate use. Okay? These are unregistered drugs, pero pwede siyang gamitin for compassionate use. For example, yung mga gamot natin before sa COVID, they're not naman registered na as for COVID. Di ba? Ang sinasabi, there are no treatment pa available for COVID-19 na specific. So, lahat ng ginamit na gamot para sa COVID-19 are not naman talaga designed for COVID-19. They were used for compassionate reason. nire-repurpose, ang sabi dyan, nire-repurpose yung mga drugs na ito, and these were used for COVID-19. Because there were some minimal data at the time na ginamit nila to justify the use. Okay. So kapag may mga life-threatening illnesses katulad noon, or let's say cancer drug, alam din natin pagka-cancer, marami ring mga gamot na parang hindi pa naman siya talaga registered para sa ganung indication, pero ginagamit na siya because there are some studies already na lumalabas na these are effective. So with those kapag wala nang therapeutic options na alternative, pinapayagan yan through the use of compassionate use of the drugs. There's a process also in processing the compassionate use of unregistered drugs at dumadaan din ito sa FDA. Yan. So may approval din po si FDA, hindi tayo basta-basta pwedeng gumamit for compassionate use. Ina-approve and ito po ay regulated pa rin ng FDA. Okay. So other responsibilities ni PTC, brand preferences. Okay. Si pharmacy po ng Asian Hospital only maintains at a maximum of 3 brands of a formulary drug. So, hindi tayo parang community drug stores or Mercury Drug na maraming mga brands na halos lahat ng brands ay pwedeng i-carry. Sa hospital pharmacy, si Asian, ang aming policy ay 3 brands lang. So, kung may 3 brands na, hindi na po pwedeng magkaroon ng 4th or 5th or 6th brand. Either merong matanggal doon sa 3 brand na yon para may makapasok na ibang brand. Yan. So, yun yung aming policy. And in that way kasi, nami-minimize natin yung mga wastages, and it's easier also to monitor, and then the doctors would have lang din yung standard na choices nila. Request for a formulary brand with an existing already 3 brands shall be communicated to PTC by the PTC to the corresponding clinical department for rationalization and replacement of an existing product. So, yun. Yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na para matanggal yung isa, it has to be communicated well with the department. Bakit po ito na ang ating preferred brand ngayon? What's the advantage? Yan. So, dinideliberate siya ulit bago makapagtanggal ng brand natin. Okay. So, just to show you, going back to the non-formulary drug monitoring, ito yung naging monitoring namin for the non-formulary. So, minomonitor namin yung usage ng non-formulary in the pharmacy. From a period of January to December 2021, there were 50 non-formulary drugs that we purchased. These drugs were tabulated based on the volume of the NF drugs na na-dispense namin. And out of these 15 top NF drugs with high utilizations, 9 drugs became included in the formulary. So, ito yung, ito yung nagiging result na kapag minomonitor natin yung mga non-formulary na pumapasok, then eventually, pwede natin siyang ipasok as a formulary drug. So, going back to the other responsibilities ni PTC, kasama sa minomonitor din niya ay drug product shortages. Alam natin, mahirap magkaroon ng drug shortage, lalong-lalo na sa hospital. So may mga critical drugs kami na hindi pwedeng mawala. Meron tayong mga emergency drugs na hindi pa pwedeng mawala. Okay, so kaya kapag nagkakaroon ng drug product shortage, this is something that's very relevant na kailangan siyang also i-discuss. Okay. The PTC maintains authority to evaluate the recommended alternative therapeutic equivalent. Okay, so In the absence of a PTC meeting, an emergent or urgent need for an out-of-stock drug, pharmacy shall provide immediate alternative for the generic equivalent medication. These medications will be considered temporary na brand alternative from the time being until the normal supply ng formulary brand resumes. So, pwede namang magkaroon ng temporary. Okay. Pero pag nagkaroon na yung talagang formulary drug na brand, babalik na. Magta-transition back na kami doon ulit sa regular na formulary drug. So, we also review the CPR of the brand alternatives kasi syempre, hindi naman tayo pwedeng basta lang kumuha kahit saan ng mga pang-alternative. No? Kailangan nire-review rin natin siya. Okay, so, together with our pharmacy purchasing and inventory group namin, we review and we try to address all the product shortages, all the drug product shortages. Okay. Yan. Another responsibility ng PTC ay yung medication use evaluation. So, annually, katulad na nabanggit ko sa inyo kanina, di ba nagkakaroon ng therapeutic class review? Annually, the PTC should evaluate all the drugs in the formulary. So, by category, by therapeutic class. Yan. Yung halimbawa, by January, cardiovascular drugs. By February, anti-infectives. Yan. So, in-schedule namin siya. The PTC should evaluate the drugs in the formulary for continued therapeutic use and usefulness. Newly added molecules, yung sinasabi natin kanina na may conditional approval, shall be monitored for 6 months. Data shall be collected on how the drug was used and any unanticipated adverse events. Okay. The formulary list should be reviewed and printed annually. Changes may be added through memo or addendum. The formulary list should be available in all patient care areas. So, in the past 3 years, 2020, 21, 22, hindi kami muna nag-print kasi 'di ba parang during COVID time, bawal yung mga papel-papel. As much as possible, kailangan digital and so we uploaded this na sa system namin and then they can look at it na sa computers na lang. Okay, so in 2022, reviews resulted in the addition of 89 drug brands, the deletion of 229 drug brands, and reclassification of 20 drug brands from formulary to special formulary status. And the updated list of formulary drugs were uploaded in the Asian Hospital shared folder. So, na-update namin yung formulary. Nalinis namin siya in 2022. PTC meetings, before, face-to-face yan. Pero PTC meetings were facilitated online starting 2020. Perhaps by this year, 2023, magre-resume kami ng face-to-face. In 2021, meetings focused on decisions regarding COVID-19 medicines, which included expedited approvals, as mentioned ko sa inyo kanina. And then in 2022, meetings focused on therapeutic class review in order to streamline and update the hospital formulary. So these reviews resulted, as I mentioned, in the addition of 89 drug brands, the deletion of 229 drug brands, and the reclassification ng 20 drug brands from formulary to special formulary status. So it's very important na ang formulary list ay naa-update. Okay, kasi sabi nga natin, di ba, hindi iyan parang dagdag ka lang ng dagdag, pero hindi ka naman nagtatanggal. Kailangan updated siya. And that's also one of the things na tinitingnan ng Joint Commission, kung updated ba ang formulary. Kasi baka mamaya obsolete na, di ba? So, because of the formulary is talagang parang, ayan yung manual or ng list ng drugs na available. Kumbaga sabi nga, the armamentarium ng doctors in treating their patients. So So it's very important na updated talaga siya. So these are the meeting namin, schedules and agenda in 2021 up to July 2022. Okay. And so I guess that this is my last slide, and our policies were all just showing you that our policies were all taken from these references, from Joint Commission, from DOH, from ASHP guidelines. Ayan. So that's it. And tama-tama, 11:55, oh. So saktong-sakto lang. Miss Marge, thank you very much sa inyong lahat. Thank you for listening. I can entertain some questions. Siguro bago tayo kumain lahat. Any questions? Please, give, give some questions. I can see I can see a familiar face dito eh. Oh, nagtatago. Ken, magpakita ka.
Liza, hello po.
Hello, Ken. Nakakatuwa naman. I'm so happy to see you. And we're looking
Thank you.
forward to see you here in Asian. Ayan si Ken. Si Ken po ay ang magtutour sa inyo sa Asian Hospital. Ayan. So, any questions about PTC? Or any questions about the internship? Ayan. So, mga gutom na po ba? Ako na lang magtatanong pagka wala kayong tanong. Sige nga. Ako magtatanong, ha? Madali lang. How do we initiate the inclusion of medicine sa formulary? Sino ang nag-initiate? Sige nga. Can I see hands? Sino ang nag-initiate ng inclusion or proposal for inclusion? Sino ang pwedeng mag-initiate for inclusion in the formulary? Okay. Can I call on Justine?
Good morning po.
Good morning, Justine.
Yung mga nagre-request po na healthcare provider or clinical department, tas pwede din po initiated by pharmacy po.
Very good. Yes, thank you. So, dalawang way, through the pharmacy and pwede din sa mga clinical departments. Very good. Should we immediately use yung mga dossiers coming from pharmaceutical companies? Can I call on Ma'am Ces?
Hello po, ma'am. Yes po. Hello. Yung sagot ko po is no po. Kasi po, di ba po may process pa po yan before po mapasama po sa formulary po.
Yes. But we can use naman. Kaya lang with utmost caution. Kasi nga
Ayun na
sabi
po.
natin ay
Apo.
baka mamaya may bias, di ba? Baka yung magaganda lang yung pinapakita nila sa atin. Hindi nila pinapakita yung pangit na study pala na mayroon pang ibang studies pala na hindi naman pala maganda ang result. So, dapat tinitingnan din. Hindi lang tayo nagre-rely solely doon sa coming from them, from the pharmaceutical company. Okay. Ito, sige. Give me, kasi di ba sabi natin kanina, there are 4 different ways of reviewing a drug in the formulary. Yan. So, kahit isa lang. Yan. Magtatawag ako, ha? May 4 yun. Parang pinagpawisan na yung iba. Okay. So, sige. Ayan, si Samantha. Nauna na siya.
One type of review po, expedited review po.
Yes, very good. Okay. Expedited review. Pag mabilisan, no? Kailangan. Number 2, okay. Bryce, I saw your hand.
Ano po, if may new drug na na-approve po ang FDA.
Very good. Yes. Okay. Number 3, please raise your hand ulit na nawala na eh. Sorry. Ranson. Ranson.
Re-evaluation po ng mga previous formulary
Very
po.
good. Yes. Re-evaluation. True. May new, may re-evaluation, may expedited, at saka ano pa? Rain. Angelica.
Therapeutic class review po.
Yes, yung maramihan. Yun, yung by batch. Therapeutic class review. That's very good. Okay. So, last question. Sige, magla-last question tayo. Bago kayo kumain. Yan, ito madali lang. What are the different types of formulary decisions? O, madali lang yan, ha? There are 3 types of formulary decisions. Okay. Mohammed.
Good morning po.
Good
Yung
morning.
disapproved applications po.
Okay.